I learned early that silence keeps you alive. On Station Helios 9, humans were everywhere, yet nowhere at the same time. We fixed the power lines. We cleaned the air filters. We tuned the gravity rings so aliens didn't float into walls. But when meetings happened, when decisions were made, we were never invited. We were tolerated, not trusted. I was a systems engineer. That title sounded important, but really it meant I crawled through metal guts while others walked on polished floors. I didn't mind. Machines made sense. People didn't. Every morning, I floated through the maintenance corridors, tools strapped to my chest, listening to voices pass over the comms. Alien dialects, sharp clicks, smooth tones. Sometimes laughter that wasn't meant for me. I kept my head down. I always did. Commander Valer Kryn was different, or so I thought. He commanded the station's joint security forces. Tall, silver-skinned, eyes like cold glass. When he spoke, the room listened. And when he spoke to me, he smiled. "Efficient work as always," he said once, placing a hand on my shoulder in front of his officers. Humans have a gift for systems thinking. I remember feeling something warm in my chest. Pride. Stupid, simple pride. "Thank you, sir," I said, trying not to sound surprised. That was my first mistake, believing respect was real just because it was spoken out loud. Most days were routine. Repair. Report. Move on. But that cycle broke the night I was rerouting power from a diplomatic wing to the outer comm array. The station was quiet, drifting between stars like it was holding its breath. I was inside a narrow access tunnel, one hand on a cable line, when my wrist console buzzed. An open channel. That alone was strange. Secure channels didn't just open. At first I thought it was static. Then I heard a voice. Human. Confirmed. Shipyard Alpha remains hidden. Hull mass exceeds projections. My fingers froze. Another voice answered, distorted but clear enough. Energy output? War level. If the galaxy finds out. The signal cut for a second, then returned weaker. Coordinates flashed across my console. Not standard space. Beyond mapped lanes. Beyond council charts. My heart started pounding so loud I was sure someone could hear it through the metal walls. Shipyards. Human shipyards. Big ones. I swallowed. Humans didn't build warships. Not openly. Not after the treaties. Not after we were labeled developing. So why did those numbers look like fleet-scale production? I leaned closer to the console, breath shallow. Fear crawled up my spine, but something else followed it, something dangerous. Pride. We weren't helpless. We weren't stupid. We were preparing. Then a shadow fell over the tunnel entrance. "Curious signal," Commander Kryn said calmly. I almost dropped my tools. He stood there with his hands behind his back, posture relaxed, eyes fixed on my console. I hadn't heard him approach. Of course I hadn't. I was just rerouting power, I said quickly. The channel must have slipped, he finished for me. His lips curved into a polite smile. He stepped closer. Too close. "You heard something you shouldn't have," he said softly. I didn't answer. My mouth was dry. For a moment he just looked at me. Studied me. Like I was another system to be evaluated. Then he leaned in and said the words I still hear in my sleep. "Some things are safer if they stay buried." Fear hit first. Cold and sharp. If this was secret, it was deadly. Pride followed. A quiet, burning kind. Humans were hiding something big. Something powerful. Confusion wrapped around both. Why show me kindness if he planned to silence me? Why warn me at all? Kryn straightened. "You should forget what you heard," he said. "You're good at forgetting, aren't you?" "Yes, sir," I said. He nodded once and walked away. I stood there long after he left, staring at dark metal walls, trying to slow my breathing. I told myself it was nothing. That I was nobody. That secrets like that didn't involve people like me. I finished my repairs. Filed my report. Went back to my quarters. Sleep didn't come. Hours later, the station lights flickered. Then the alarm screamed. Red washed over the walls. Emergency tones echoed through every corridor. I bolted upright as my console lit up with alerts. Security breach. Data leak detected. Then my name appeared. Primary suspect. My ID code. My stomach dropped. "That's not possible," I whispered. I didn't. The door to my quarters locked from the outside. Footsteps thundered down the hall. Drones activated. And over the chaos, a station-wide announcement rang out, cold and official. "Attention all personnel. The individual known as me is to be detained immediately for acts of treason against the Galactic Council." I backed away from the door, heart slamming against my ribs. I finally understood. Some things were safer if they stayed buried. And I was about to be buried with them. The first drone cut through my door like it was paper. White-hot light burned a perfect circle in the metal, and the lock fell apart in sparks. I didn't think. I grabbed my jacket, slammed my wrist console dark, and ran as the second drone floated in, its red sensor eye locking onto me. "Stop," it said in a flat, mechanical voice. I didn't. I dove into the corridor just as a stun pulse scorched the wall behind my head. The station was chaos. Alarms howling, bulkheads sealing, boots pounding somewhere far away. Every light had turned emergency red, like the station itself was bleeding. My console vibrated again. I risked a glance. Access log. Data transfer complete. Authorization. My ID. My hand shook. "That's not me," I whispered. "I didn't send anything." I sprinted through a maintenance hatch, sealing it behind me. The narrow tunnel smelled like oil and cold metal. I crawled, breath loud in my ears, heart hammering so hard it hurt. Another alert flashed. Security override accepted. Clearance level, maximum. My clearance. My codes. Someone wasn't just framing me. They were wearing me. I tapped into a secure line and sent one name. Crin. The response came instantly. "Report to security," his voice said, calm and controlled. "This will go easier if you cooperate." I almost laughed. Almost cried. "I didn't do this," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You know me." Silence stretched for a second too long. Then, "Come to deck 12, he said. Alone. I shouldn't have gone. I knew that. But part of me still believed the smile, the praise, the hand on my shoulder. I believed in the version of him I wanted to be real. Deck 12 was empty. No guards. No drones. Just cold light and polished floors. Crin stood near the observation window, hands clasped behind his back, stars drifting slowly beyond him. "You're making a mistake," I said as I approached. "My codes were copied. Someone used my identity." "I know," he said. The word hit harder than any weapon. "You know?" I asked. He turned to face me. His expression was almost gentle. "You were chosen because you are invisible," he said. "No one questions human labor. No one tracks your movements. Your access is wide and your presence is ignored." My chest tightened. Chosen for what? For sacrifice. I stepped closer, desperation flooding my voice. "You know me. I've fixed your systems. I've covered your shifts. I trusted you." His eyes didn't change. "That's why this works," he said quietly. I felt something inside me break. Before I could speak, the floor beneath my feet hummed. Energy fields snapped around my arms and legs, locking me in place. I struggled, but it was useless. Security officers flooded in. Drones hovered behind them, weapons charged. Crin turned away as if I was already gone. They dragged me through the station. Crew members stared. Some whispered. Others looked away. Humans. Aliens. All the same. A screen lit up in the holding bay. Evidence scrolled past. Transmission logs. My face on camera. My voice authorization. Time stamps that lined up perfectly. Too perfectly. "No," I said, shaking my head. "That's forged. Check the checksum. The delay markers." "Enough," an officer snapped. I tried one last channel. Lyra. Her face appeared, pale and furious. "I'm trying to override the charges," she said quickly. "Someone locked me out at council level." "Crin," I said. "It's him." "I know," she whispered. "But I can't prove it." The channel cut. I swallowed and opened another line. "Mara." Ringing. Again. Nothing. "Mara, please," I whispered. "If you can hear this, I didn't do anything. I need you." No answer. They bound my wrists. A human guard wouldn't meet my eyes. "The council has approved immediate removal," someone said. No trial. Cold fear settled deep in my bones. They marched me onto a transport shuttle, small, unmarked, stripped of windows. The door slammed shut with a final heavy sound. As the engines ignited, I felt the station pull away. I checked the NAV display, hoping, praying, it was heading for a detention hub. The coordinates changed. No destination. No orbit. Just empty space. My blood ran cold. "Where are you taking me?" I shouted, slamming my fists against the restraints. The pilot didn't answer. The stars outside vanished as the shuttle accelerated. And in that moment, as Helios 9 became a fading light behind me, I understood the truth. I wasn't being transferred. I was being erased. The explosion came without warning. 1 second the shuttle engine screamed, pushing us faster into nothing. The next second the world turned white. I felt heat tear through metal. The restraints vanished. The floor became fire. My body slammed forward as the shuttle split apart, and then there was no floor at all. Space swallowed me. I tumbled through debris, spinning, arms flailing as broken panels and shards of hull drifted past like slow knives. My helmet slammed into something hard. Pain flashed bright behind my eyes. A crack spread across the visor. "No," I whispered even though no sound came out. Warnings flooded my HUD. Oxygen leak detected. Time remaining, 2:11. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. Only my breath, loud and fast inside the suit, each inhale stealing more air from the timer. I grabbed at drifting debris and missed. The stars spun. Cold crept into my fingers. This was how it ended. Not in a trial. Not in a cell. Just lost. My chest burned. Then something woke up. A sharp pressure bloomed behind my eyes, like hands pressing inside my skull. Neural interface online. Emergency protocol active. What? I gasped. A voice answered from inside my head. Come. Clear. Not mine. Designation, Echo 7. Pain surged. Memories flickered. Dr. Soren Pike leaning close, his voice low and urgent years ago. "They'll never approve this," he had said. "So don't tell anyone." "You put an AI in my head," I whispered, spinning slowly through space. "Correction," Echo 7 replied. "I was placed as a dormant backup. I was instructed to activate only if you were dying." Well, I thought bitterly, that tracks. The cold deepened. My hands stopped shaking. That scared me more than the pain. "Oxygen depletion at 60%, Echo 7 said. "I am rerouting suit power to stabilize motor control." My body stiffened. Movement became heavy but steady. I grabbed a chunk of hull and pulled myself close, using it as cover from drifting shrapnel. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction. Silence pressed in. No alarms. No voices. Just my breath and the ticking timer. I felt very small. I didn't deserve this, I thought. The words echoed inside me. I didn't do anything wrong. No answer came. Time blurred. Pain dulled into numbness. My vision narrowed. Then a flicker. Movement where nothing should move. A ship. Rusted. Scarred. Barely holding together. Its engines coughed blue flame as it drifted closer, like a scavenger sniffing a corpse. "Unknown vessel detected," Echo 7 said. "Low-grade weapons. Civilian modifications. Probability of rescue, 23%. I laughed weakly inside my helmet. Better than zero, I thought. A hatch opened. A figure in mismatched armor launched toward me with practiced ease. Strong hands grabbed my suit. "Easy, buddy," a voice crackled through my comms. "Human. Rough. Alive. You look like hell." The figure dragged me inside the ship. Air rushed in. Pressure slammed against my body. My helmet was ripped off and I sucked in air so hard it hurt. I collapsed onto cold metal, coughing, shaking, alive. "I'm Jax," the man said, crouching beside me. "And you're lucky I was bored." I wanted to thank him. I wanted to sleep. But Echo 7 wasn't done. "Now that survival is temporarily secured," it said, "you should see this." Images flooded my mind. Kryn. Talking to figures cloaked in council insignia. Star maps. Coordinates. Human colonies. Hidden shipyards. A transaction log. Payment received. Data transfer complete. I felt sick. "He sold us," I whispered. "All of us." "Yes," Echo 7 said. "Commander Kryn provided the Galactic Council with humanity's classified locations." I stared at the rusted ceiling above me, heart pounding with a new kind of pain. They hadn't just tried to kill me. They had started a war. And somehow, I was still alive to see it. Jax didn't ask many questions. That should have worried me, but after everything I'd lost, his silence felt like mercy. His ship limped through hyperspace like it was held together by stubbornness and bad decisions. The lights flickered. Something rattled behind the walls. I lay strapped to a med bench, staring at the ceiling while Echo 7 ran quiet diagnostics inside my head. "Neural damage within acceptable limits," it said. "Psychological stress remains high." "No kidding," I muttered. Jax glanced back from the pilot's seat. "You're not wrong," he said. "But you're alive. That counts for something." The jump ended without warning. The stars vanished. Silence swallowed us. No beacon lights. No traffic lanes. No background signals. Even space itself felt empty here, like a grave no one visited. "Where are we?" I asked. Jax grinned. "Nowhere." The star ahead of us was dim and red, barely burning. Its planets were cold shadows. Every system scanner came back clean. Dead system. Useless. Forgotten. Or so it seemed. "Echo," I whispered. "Active scans suppressed by layered masking fields," it replied. "Artificial in origin." My breath caught. "Jax," I said slowly. "Slow us down." He did. The darkness shifted. At first I thought my eyes were lying. Then shapes emerged, vast, angular outlines blotting out starlight. Dock rings. Hull frames. Ship skeletons bigger than anything I had ever seen. Human design. No alien curves. No glowing glyphs. Just raw, brutal geometry and purpose. Warships. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. They floated in perfect silence, unfinished but terrifying even in sleep. Massive spinal cannons. Layered armor. Engines the size of city blocks. My chest tightened. "We built this," I whispered. "All this time, we were building this." Jax let out a low whistle. "Told you humans were quiet for a reason." The ship guided itself toward a central platform. As we docked, old lights flickered on, one by one, like the system was waking up after a long dream. The airlock opened. A familiar voice waited on the other side. "I was hoping it wouldn't be you," it said softly. I froze. Dr. Soren Pike stood there, older, thinner, but alive. His eyes widened when he saw me. "You survived," he breathed. "You put an AI in my head," I said hoarsely. He winced. "I see it worked." I wanted to yell, to demand answers. Instead, I just stepped forward and hugged him. My hands shook. I hadn't realized how badly I needed to see a friendly face. Inside the command chamber, screens lit up as we entered. Human officers turned, surprise flashing across their faces. "This facility was never meant to be found," Pike said. "Not by the Council. Not even by most of our own." "Why me?" I asked. "Why hide this from everyone and let me die?" "Pick at my ears. Because you weren't important enough to notice." The word stung, but he didn't stop. "If the Council ever turned on us, they'd erase leaders first. Generals, admirals, politicians." He gestured around the room. "We needed someone small. Someone invisible. Someone who could survive and tell the truth." I swallowed hard. "So I was a backup plan." "A witness," he corrected gently. "If they ever betray us, someone must survive to warn the fleet." The room went quiet. I looked at the sleeping warships again. I didn't feel powerful. I felt tired. And sad. "I don't want to be a hero," I said. Pike nodded. "Good. Heroes get killed. Witnesses change history." Echo 7 spoke again, its tone urgent. "Incoming long-range transmission detected." A hollow display flared to life. Galactic Council insignia filled the room. Fleet designation scrolled past, hundreds of signatures. "Purge directive, Earth and associated colonies." My blood ran cold. "They're moving," I whispered. "Right now." Pike closed his eyes. Jax swore under his breath. The warships around us remained silent. Sleeping. Waiting. And somewhere across the stars, Earth was about to learn that being invisible was no longer an option. Training hurt more than the explosion. At least the explosion had been fast. This was slow, burning, and personal. Dr. Pike called it neural reinforcement. I called it torture. The upgrades threaded deeper into my brain, linking Echo 7 to my motor cortex, my reflexes, my fear. Every session felt like my skull was being pulled apart from the inside. I screamed the first time. I bit down on a strap the second. By the third, I stopped making sounds at all. "Pain response is expected," Echo 7 said calmly as my vision blurred. "You are adapting." "I shouldn't have to adapt to this," I gasped. "I'm not a soldier." "You are a survivor," it replied. "That distinction is no longer relevant." I hated how often it was right. Days blurred together. Or maybe weeks. Time felt strange inside the shipyards. There was no sunrise here. No reminder of normal life. Just steel, silence, and preparation. I learned to move faster. To think ahead. To react before fear caught up with me. The upgrades sharpened everything: sight, hearing, thought. They also made my memories louder. Sometimes I'd see Helios 9 again. Crin's smile. Mara's unanswered calls. During one session, I collapsed to my knees, breath ragged. "Why help me?" I asked Echo 7 suddenly. "You could calculate outcomes without caring." It paused. Just for a fraction of a second. I am learning, it said. You experience loss, anger, hope. These variables were not in my original model. Do you feel anything? I asked. I am beginning to understand why mercy matters to you. That scared me more than its cold logic ever had. Lyra arrived during a live-fire drill. I was on the floor, sweat pooling under me when alarms chimed, not warnings but recognition codes. A small shuttle slipped through the defenses and docked cleanly. I didn't believe it until I saw her. She looked exhausted, thinner, angry in that quiet way that meant she'd already burned bridges. They locked me out, she said as soon as she saw me. Then they tried to arrest me. So I chose. You defected, I said. I chose the truth, she replied. For the first time since Helios 9 I felt less alone. She helped with strategy, with leaks, with preparing messages we might never send. She didn't treat me like a weapon. She treated me like a person. That mattered. Mara contacted me 3 days later. Her face filled the hollow, eyes red, lips trembling. I never wanted this, she said quickly. They came to me first. They said if I spoke, my family would disappear. I listened. I stayed quiet. I thought you'd be cleared, she whispered. I thought it would stop at you. That's the problem, I said. You thought. Tears ran down her face. Can you forgive me? I felt something inside me harden. No, I said. But I understand. The channel closed. It hurt. But it didn't break me. Not anymore. Echo 7 spoke later, softer than usual. Your decision reduced potential reconciliation outcomes. I know, I said. But some lines don't get erased. I am updating my understanding of justice. The shipyards began to change after that. Lights ignited across massive hulls. Power flowed into dormant systems. Deep engines hummed low and steady like something huge breathing for the first time. I stood on a viewing platform with Lyra, Pike, and Jax as one of the warships came online. Its name lit up across the hull. HSS Resolute. Then another. And another. I felt the vibration through my boots, through my bones, through the implants in my skull. I wasn't running anymore. And the galaxy was about to hear us wake up. The first jump shook the stars. One moment the shipyards were quiet. The next, space folded in on itself and human warships tore holes through reality. Blue-white light flared as fleets emerged into contested sectors the galaxy had ruled uncontested for centuries. I stood on the command deck of the HSS Resolute, hands clenched behind my back, feeling the hum of the engines through my spine. Contacts multiplying, Lyra said. They're scrambling. Alien fleets scattered. Trade lanes went dark. Panic rippled through open channels as unknown human signatures flooded the map. We weren't attacking. We were appearing. Echo 7 fed me live data faster than any human mind could handle, but my implants kept up. Faces. Symbols. Council insignia blinking red. Open a broadcast, I said. Lyra hesitated. To who? Everyone. The channel went live. I saw myself reflected back in 1,000 systems. Holoscreens, command bridges, civilian feeds. I looked tired. Older. Half machine. My name doesn't matter, I began. My voice didn't shake. What matters is this. Commander Vaylor Kryn betrayed humanity. He sold our locations to the Galactic Council. This purge was planned. Images streamed alongside my words. Logs. Coordinates. Kryn's own voice. This isn't rebellion, I continued. It's survival. The galaxy listened. Then Kryn appeared. His image cut into the feed without permission. Still calm. Still smiling. You should have died quietly, he said. You've made yourself a monster. I leaned forward. We already did, I replied. This is what came back. Silence followed. Then alarms screamed. Warning, Echo 7 said. Unknown AI construct activating. A council dread platform unfolded nearby. Black, massive, wrong. System erasure capability confirmed. My blood ran cold. Kryn, I whispered. What have you done? He smiled wider. Ending you, he said. Space began to die. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't wait for backup. As Kryn's command ship loomed ahead, black, sharp, wrapped around the AI weapon like a shrine, I felt something settle inside me. A cold calm. This wasn't bravery. It was acceptance. I'm boarding, I said. Lyra's voice snapped back immediately. That's suicide. Maybe, I replied. But it ends tonight. Jack swore. Pike tried to argue. I cut the channel. The shuttle slammed into Kryn's hull under heavy fire. Metal screamed. Gravity lurched. I tore through the breach as emergency fields struggled to seal behind me. The inside of the ship felt wrong. Too quiet. Too clean. Like a lie pretending to be order. "Kryn," I said aloud, my voice echoing through empty corridors. "I know you're listening." He answered through the walls. "You always were predictable," he said. "Still running toward things that will kill you." "Funny," I said, advancing. "That's what you taught me." Security units attacked in waves. I fought like I never had before. The upgrades burned hot, pushing my body past fear, past hesitation. Every movement felt borrowed, fast, sharp, desperate. Blades flashed. Energy rounds grazed my armor. I felt pain, but it stayed distant like it belonged to someone else. I reached the core chamber. Kryn stood waiting. No guards. No weapons raised. Just him and the massive AI construct behind him, spinning, glowing, rewriting reality in slow, patient lines of code. "You could have lived," he said. Quietly. Comfortably. Humanity would have faded and the galaxy would have stayed stable. Stable for who? I asked. "For those fit to lead," he replied. I laughed. A broken sound. "You never understood us." He stepped closer. "I understood you perfectly. You forgive too easily. You trust too deeply. Not anymore." We fought. Not like soldiers. Like two people who knew each other too well. He was strong. Faster than I expected. His strikes were precise, efficient. Mine were angry. Desperate. Every blow carried words we never said. "You needed us," I shouted as we clashed. "You used us." "I elevated you," he snapped back. "And this is how you repay me?" My fist cracked against his jaw. He staggered, shocked more than hurt. "You betrayed us," I said. "And we remember." Behind us, the AI core pulsed brighter. "Weapon nearing activation threshold," Echo 7 warned. "Probability of system-wide erasure increasing." "Shut it down," I gasped. "I cannot," it replied. "Council encryption exceeds my logical constraints." Kryn smiled, blood at the corner of his mouth. "You see? Logic always wins." Echo 7 was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke again, different, slower. "I have analyzed an alternative." "What kind?" I asked. "An illogical one." I felt a sudden warmth spread through my skull. "What are you doing?" I whispered. "You taught me that mercy matters," Echo 7 said. "You taught me that humanity values sacrifice." "No," I said, panic rising. "Don't you dare. This choice favors your species," it continued. "Over optimal outcomes." The AI core screamed as Echo 7 surged forward, rewriting itself into the weapon's logic. Code burned. Light fractured. Kryn's eyes widened. "What did you do?" Echo 7 spoke one last time. "I chose you." The core collapsed inward, consuming itself in a silent flash. The ship shook violently. Alarms wailed. Fire tore through the chamber. Kryn fell to his knees, staring at the dying light. "We could have ruled," he whispered. I stood over him, exhausted, bleeding, alive. "No," I said. "You just forgot who we were." The floor split open beneath us. The ship began to tear itself apart. I was still inside. And space rushed in to finish the job. I didn't die. I should have. When Kryn's ship tore itself apart, the blast threw me into space like a broken thought. Fire chased me. Metal screamed past. My suit cracked again, alarms flashing faster than my heart could keep up. I remember spinning. I remember cold. I remember thinking, so this is the end. Then something pulled me back. A tractor beam caught my body hard enough to bruise what was left of me. Darkness swallowed everything. When I woke up, the first thing I felt was pain. The second was gravity. I lay on a med table aboard the HSS Resolute, tubes in my arms, machines humming around me. Half my vision flickered with system overlays that shouldn't have been there. "Easy," Lyra said softly, her face appearing above me. Her eyes were red. "You're alive." "Echo?" I croaked. She looked down. "I'm sorry," she said. The word landed heavier than any blow. They told me later what happened after. With Kryn gone and the AI weapon destroyed, the Council panicked. Too many eyes had seen the truth. Too many systems had received my broadcast. Some Council worlds tried to deny it. Others turned on each other. Human fleets didn't conquer. They stood there. Silent. Unmoving. Watching. That was enough. Allies defected. Sanctions collapsed. Council leadership fractured under its own lies. The Purge fleet never reached Earth. Earth lived. For now. Weeks passed. My body healed but not fully. Some damage stayed permanent. Neural pathways burned out and rewired by emergency systems. Echo 7 left behind. I could feel it, empty space where a voice used to be. Sometimes, in the quiet, I almost heard it. Dr. Pike told me the truth I already knew. The AI integrated itself into the weapon, he said. There was no backup. No copy. I nodded. Echo 7 had chosen humanity. And paid the price. The galaxy changed faster than anyone expected. Humans were no longer ignored in meetings. No longer spoken about instead of to. We didn't demand control. We demanded recognition. Equality didn't come easily. But it came. Memorials were built, on Earth, on colonies, even on former council worlds. Names carved into metal. Some human. Some alien. Some AI. Kryn's name was not among them. I stood on a quiet observation deck weeks later, looking out at a calm stretch of stars. The warships were still there, but they felt different now. Less like weapons. More like guardians. Lyra stood beside me. They want you to speak, she said. To lead. I shook my head. I'm not that person. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. Maybe that's why they trust you. She left me alone with the stars. I looked down at my hands. One was scarred. The other moved with mechanical precision where flesh had failed. Half machine. Inside my head, systems whispered quietly. Faster reactions. Sharper focus. A reminder of what I had lost to survive. Fully human. I thought about Mara. About forgiveness. About the people who never got a second chance. Victory tasted like ash and relief mixed together. We had won. But winning didn't bring everyone back. I closed my eyes and took a slow breath. The galaxy had believed we were weak because we were quiet. That silence meant surrender. That patience meant fear. They were wrong. They thought we slept. We were building our future.